Aesthetic Solutions wants to personally thank you for purchasing our Dermaglow system. This microdermabrasion training video will afford you the comprehensive knowledge and background of microdermabrasion and the confidence to provide your clients the most excellent treatment. We use our Dermaglow 2 machine throughout the video, however, there is a segment at the beginning on the usage of the Dermaglow EST. Feel free to contact us anytime at 888-345-4569, extension 1 for customer service and extension 3 for technical support. Remove the plastic caps on the cartridge and install handpiece tubing as shown here. Insert the larger tube in the center port and smaller tube in the small port. Push cartridge straight onto vacuum post. Do not twist as this can damage the two O-rings. Be sure to push cartridge all the way in. Note it should actually touch the case. The power cord plugs into the back of the EST and the power switch is on the side. Filters may periodically need replacement or cleaning. Technical support can assist you as to when this may be necessary. If you need to do so, unscrew the clear plastic filter canister counterclockwise. Remove the white filter and any microcrystals by wiping and/or tapping the filter element on a counter to loosen them. Replace the filter and tighten the canister snug, making sure the O-ring is evenly seated in the rim of the clear canister. When disposing of microfiltration filter, we recommend that you wear latex or synthetic gloves and a barrier mask. Now that the cartridge is installed, you can turn the power on and adjust the vacuum pressure to recommended levels. Turning dial clockwise increases the vacuum level. After each treatment, handpiece can be stored upright on the EST. Before your treatment, test the underside of your forearm to determine a comfort level. Begin treatment conservatively and observe the effect with sight and touch.
Thank you very much for inviting me here to do your training. You all have just purchased the Dermaglow 2 machine from Aesthetic Solutions. So my job is to walk you through the machine itself and how to set it up, what microdermabrasion is and how it will benefit your salon or spa. And then also we will do a consultation and also a treatment so you can see exactly how the machine works. So first things that I'd like to cover is the machine itself. The first primary important factor that I like people to know is that it is on rollers, so you do have the availability to move this from room to room. Old machines, you used to have to carry it. This one is very easily accessible by just being able to roll it to room. Now, I usually like to start by showing the people the back of the machine because this is where some of the more intricate things take place. In your setup, you have a power cord. It is very, very important that this power cord is plugged into one outlet and one outlet only. So that means no wax machine is plugged in at the same time, no steamer. So you do need to leave one outlet reserved specifically for the machine itself. At the bottom of the machine down here, all you need to do is just plug it right into place and then plugs very easily into the wall. Make sure that it's a 3-prong wall. And like I said, just make sure there's nothing else plugged into the plug itself. The next thing that's on the back of the machine that makes this particular machine so easy to use for the operator itself is there's no longer a debris canister. We have a nice filter bag that goes with this machine. This particular filter bag you will need to be purchasing from Aesthetic Solutions. There's no other machine on the market that offers this. And from a user standpoint, I personally find this much easier to use instead of emptying out a debris canister every time I do a treatment. The trick to getting this in is there's a little opening in the back here, and then right here is the portal where you want to actually have the bag sit in. So to put it in, we fit it just in place, make sure it's nice and snug. And then the other thing you need to be careful with, because we need a tight seal, you need to fit the bag in just like so, and then close the door, and then you've just got 2 screws that all you do is just screw it right into place. Now sometimes with the screws, if you get them screwed in too tightly, it can be a little bit difficult to open it back up. So you do want it somewhat tight, but not extremely tight where you actually need to use a screwdriver to open it up. So that is the second component on the back of the machine. The next component on the back of the machine is where the crystals are going to go. In your startup kit, you have your bottle of crystals. These crystals are formulated for this machine specifically. So once again, you always want to make sure that you purchase your crystals from Aesthetic Solutions. There are several other manufacturers out there that are making crystals, but it is very important that you do use the Dermaglow crystals that go with the machine. This is also very easy, so you can time everything perfectly right. And what I mean by so is when your bottle of crystals is empty, that means it's time to change your bag. So it's pretty foolproof. All you do is flip open the top for the crystals and dump it right in place. So that's the back of the machine. So at this stage, the back of the machine is set up and ready to go. And at the front of the machine, if you notice, we have the 2 portals for the tubing itself. And when you look at the tubing, one side is white and the other side is black. The easiest way to remember this, the white side goes on the right side and the black side goes on the left side. It's very, very important that you remember that. It is also in the manual that I will show you in a little bit. These snap in place very easily, so you just snap it right in. And the left one snaps right into place, like so. This handpiece is attached to the tubing. It's almost next to impossible for the handpiece to actually come off of the tubing, which is really nice. On the top of the handpiece, you also have your crystal tip, or the tip that goes with the machine. I will review the tips in a little bit. But you will be given a supply of tips in your starter kit also. So the machine is now pretty much set up and ready to go. So to review the back of the machine, we have the vacuum bag, we have the crystals, we have the plug that is plugged into the back of it. The front of the machine, we have the tubing. The tubing, like I said, the black is on the left side and the white is on the right side, and then you also have your handpiece. This is the easiest machine on the market right now. Like I say, from a consumer standpoint or as an operator, it's pretty foolproof, which is nice. So now that we have the machine all set up, I want to go ahead and touch base on a couple key points with this machine. Once again, in your startup packet, you are going to be getting this owner's manual. This owner's manual you'll find extremely helpful because a lot of the information I'm talking about will also be in this manual. It also helps visually to see what you should be looking for when you start doing your treatments and you start getting familiar with the machine. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to turn on the machine and just show you a couple of little troubleshoot points that I think is kind of important for people to know. First and foremost, when you get your machine plugged in and get it up and going, to turn it on, all you need to do is just push the button. It's very quiet, as you can tell, so it's non-disturbing to anyone else that could possibly be in the room next to you. When you start the machine, we need to test it to make sure that the vacuum suction is at the highest rate or highest intensity. What you need to do with that is you have your intensity knob here, and you need to turn it all the way up until it stops. You can actually hear it getting louder. As soon as the knob stops, what I need to have you do is kink the tubing, and you will notice here on the meter, we wanted to read anywhere between 26.4 to 26.7. That tells me that the vacuum bag is in properly, the seal is sealed all the way shut, and we have the full amount of vacuum intensity that we need. The crystal flow knob that you notice over here, you can go anywhere from a low crystal flow to a high crystal flow. For all intents and purposes, I personally just keep it right at auto. A lot of people ask, well, why should I keep it at auto? Why should I go lower? Why should I go higher? The crystals is what is going to do the scrubbing action of the skin. What you're really going to be focusing on with your clients when you are upping their treatments or going through their treatments is the intensity. The higher the intensity, the more blood flow you're getting, the more results that you get from it also. So just keep in mind, crystals, you can keep it at auto. You can also choose to go lower or higher with it. I just personally find it easier just to keep it at auto. So now that the machine has been tested, and you usually want to do this every single day when you first get into the place before you start your treatments. If for some reason you walk in, you turn on the machine, and you notice that when you turn up the intensity and you kink the cord, and it does not go to 26.4 or 27.4, the first thing that you need to check is check your vacuum bag in the back. If for some reason the bag was not in there properly, okay? When it comes to starting your machine, the other thing I like to do on the beginning of every day is I like to check to make sure that the crystal flow is fine. Sometimes you can get a little clog of crystals that just sit somewhere in some of the tubing and you need to possibly unclog it. So what I like to do, like I said, when I start my day, is I will actually run this over my arm just to make sure that I have a proper amount of crystal flow, I can feel the suction, and I know that I'm going to be able to give the treatment that I need to give to my clients. By doing so, you need a flat contact surface. I usually tell people to use the inside of their arm. That's the easiest way to do it. And when you press it right onto the skin, you can actually see the crystals are coming out, which is perfect. You can definitely feel the suction on there, so you know the suction is working. So it tells me that my machine is ready to go. If for some reason you were to do this and you notice that you had no crystal flow whatsoever, what you would need to do is turn off your machine, and at the back of the machine there are two possible scenarios that would take place as to why you would have no crystal flow. The first one would be A, you're out of crystals and you need to change your vacuum bag. That has sometimes happened. The second thing would be is check to make sure that there's nothing that's plugged in the way. And by doing so, in your starter kit, you get this bulb. And what this bulb will actually do is it will shoot a couple puffs of air into the portal where the crystals are, just to unclog it. So in order to do that, we need to pull the crystals out of the container. And if you were to actually look down into this hole, you would actually be able to see a little pool of crystals, which is perfectly fine. That's what you want to see. This bulb you insert into this little hole right here. And all you want to do is just 5 times, just squeeze it. And what you should start to see is crystals moving through this clear part of the tubing. And like I said, you want to do it 5 times to make sure that you get everything clear. The other thing that you will visually see as you do this, crystals are going to be jumping around in here also. This will usually remedy the factor if you had no crystal flow whatsoever. One extremely important part of this machine, this whole tubing needs to come out. You cannot leave the black tubing in here. If you leave the black tubing in here, you're just going to be wasting all the crystals. So when you remove the bulb, the black piece needs to be attached to the clear piece. So at this point, I've cleared my clog, and now I'm safe to go ahead and put my crystals back in here. So the 2 main troubleshooting points that I like people to know is, if you have no suction, it's the vacuum bag. If you have no crystal flow or low crystal flow, you possibly have a clog. So those are the 2 things that you need to keep in the back of your mind. If for some reason neither one of those works, you can always go ahead and call the company. Another big benefit is the company is here in California. They're easily accessible. They can walk you through just about everything. And if there really is a problem, there's a great turnaround time in getting you another machine. The technical support is fabulous. I personally have found it very helpful. But once again, with this machine, it's pretty foolproof, which is nice. So that is pretty much the main troubleshooting points that I wanted to cover with this machine.